right. Yeah.
Because I'm feeling comfortable.
Yeah. And you sounded better. Yeah. No cough.
I definitely need to, for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
You're good, Dina.
Yeah.
We'll try.
So sorry it took so long. We were trying to work the way some recurring funds to try to fill this gap at 4%. We're at 5.5%. We are struggling because we moved from 18.4 million to close 27 million. And in looking at the degree that there's more funds available, Mr. Smith went through a number of various functions and disagrees. So we're looking at the non-recurring funds.
So, yeah, so we started off as I mentioned, $18.5 million for $27 million. Plus we're picking up the health insurance costs. We did last year, $9 million health insurance costs last year. I think we're offering a very generous package under the circumstances, given the fact that we lost $38 million in funding last year as a result of the family balance scholarships. We just got the FP reduction. I appreciate you're looking at the budget, but I respectfully disagree with you. We don't have additional funding to pay for this. Even $500,000 is a stretch, because as Lori just mentioned, we went from 18 to $27 million in change, which is a fairly large jump. It is my responsibility as CFO to keep this district fiscally sound. I do not want to be in a circumstance where the district finds itself in a position where it's not in a good financial footing, and that we have to look at reducing employees as a result of that. That is my job to prevent that. It is my job to advise the board of what I believe is doable. This is beyond my level of belief that this is doable. I think this is going to cause us some financial difficulties potentially, or it could. We're going to make it work though. So what we've offered is really what, as Lori mentioned, the edge of where we are. So comfortable in that. I don't think we go any further than that. But what we will do though, however, is we'll take your suggestion. We'll go back and realizing that inflation is an issue. I know inflation is affecting all of us, including the district, by the way. And we'll go back and see if we can find some sort of inflationary mitigating methods that we can utilize to offset the effects of inflation right now, and perhaps some non-recurring sources of revenue. That's something we have to be careful of too, because when you give somebody a non-recurring source of funding, they become reliant upon that, and then they're in a big predicament next year. So thankfully, in the case of Pasco County, they did do a 5.4% rate, because if not, they would have taken a 4% cut this year based on what they were earning last year. So we will take your suggestions. We'll go back and take a look at what funding sources might be available to ESSER and offer other funding sources that can help us provide some sort of a supplement to offset the effects of inflation on our employees. Our employees are very, very, very valuable to us. We appreciate everything we do. My goal as CFO is number one, to keep the district fiscally responsible, but equal to that goal is the desire to continually increase our employees' pay. That's what my desire is. I'm not in the habit of hoarding money. You mentioned that some districts have what we refer to as a piggy bank. We do not have that. We keep a very modest fund balance, even at the 5%. That's relatively low compared to other districts. And I understand you think that's too much, and that's a philosophical difference that we have. But I think it's incumbent upon us as a district and the bargaining units to make certain that we remain fiscally responsible. We don't want to find ourselves in a situation that we have that might be certain things.
So you
We're going to meet early. I guess probably the earliest would be 9 or 9:30.
I already have another 10 o'clock meeting, so
And I would need to see, I have something else, so, I couldn't do 9:30, I think we would need a little bit more than that. So,
Yeah, she has to be, to report to Orlando.
you can't be any earlier than 9.
I can't, I could, I could tentatively, it's not getting, it's distributing everything.
So then, what about on Monday?
I mean, I could tentatively set it for earlier Friday and then just try to make arrangements to, I can try to get someone.
Or why don't you check this evening or whatever, and then maybe call tomorrow?
How, so we would be thinking something like 8?
8.
8, okay. 8 on Friday. I will try to do that. I just need to move a few things, but I'll try to make that work.
Could you just confirm it?
Mhm.
now? Okay.
I will. And I would just ask you all, again, I've said with the non-recurring payment. It's not that there's never a place for those. But I would again encourage you to look at that as a last resort, more so than relying on that to bridge this philosophical gap.
I think at 4% we are left.
I think if we're calling that a last resort, then you're right, but it's more than a philosophical difference. When we say things, and I want to caution you, because again, we know we've tried to set this up. I don't even know if it's working right now. We try. I want to caution against putting out the attitude that one of the dangers of supplements is that, because this is not my reservation about supplements. If what I'm hearing is that any reservation about a one-time payment is based on trying to avoid creating dependency, that people take that as part of their salary, and then the next year, then they're found, or they could potentially be found without it, and or find themselves without it, and that is somehow the district's job to prevent someone from getting too comfortable. I don't think that there is a point at which our people could be like dependence, comfort, whatever. We talked in the first session about the fact that there are long-term financial situations that people have to prepare for, and then there are short-term situations that people have to prepare for. The district, I think, is having a harder time seeing the short-term financial responsibility that you have for in fear of disrupting the long-term financial goal. It's not that the long-term financial goal, that there's anything wrong with that. But there are times when priorities have to shift, and I think it's one of those ones.
I misunderstood. I apologize. I recall you saying in the bargaining session last year that you were completely opposed to bonuses. So I assume that was the reason.
No, it wasn't. And in fact, I've corrected it at this table and at PCTA. One of the reasons why was, well, first of all, because it doesn't contribute to someone's retirement. Secondly, because there are ways of paying bonuses that are taxed differently from from regular pay. And we cleared up the fact, and I don't remember if we cleared it at PCTA or the PESCO table, but we repeated it several times. And I framed it as, I understand now that the way that the district pays it does not rely upon that same different taxation structure. So when people receive that one-time payment, it actually lands that way, that they're not expecting $800 and they get $500. So that's good. And that was one of my reservations about it. Of course, it doesn't contribute to salary, and that is a problem. But I also understand that we are in a position where we have to balance long-term goals versus short-term goals. However, I would caution all of us, and I think maybe even more so the district, because we are speaking on behalf of the employees. Please, let's not put us in a position where we presume to make generalizations or financial decisions for people about what they do with their salary. They need an increase in salary, period. It's not for the district for fear of them eventually being disappointed with their income, avoid any kind of expenditure now.
No, that is not the intention. Absolutely not.
I mistook what your assertion was, that you said you would never, ever accept a bonus. I just assumed that was not. So I apologize, I misunderstood that. We did have this conversation about taxation. We don't tax it at 25% rate, we tax it at the normal rate, and the IRS allows us to do that. We have talked about the possibility of one-time payments. We talked about that a little while ago, about $150. So it's not something we're averse to, and I don't presume to know what some of these individual financial circumstances are. That's for them to decide.
And in
But-
fact, we think that this may be an appropriate way to bridge that gap. Because
Exactly.
one, there is a shot in the arm from federal funds, and two, hopefully this inflation that we're experiencing now is short term. So those two things coupled together
Right.
sort of cries out for maybe that is what we do with this money. And we're not talking about someone's dependence or non-dependence. It's a way to get somebody money this year and get our salaries confirmed and get raises retroactive back to July. Sooner than later.
Yeah, it is a way. I would maintain that it's not the only way. And when we're talking about 18.5 million to 27 million, we're talking about that in the whole group. And I understand, like you said, that there are, you implied that I have some sort of luxury of only looking at this unit. And as an individual, we know that that's not correct, and negotiating for and with two different teams that comprise the vast majority of your employees. So the reality is, what we do with these two units, it's not a luxury, it is what it takes to keep our schools staffed and open. That's what it takes. And we know from our surrounding districts that their plan, their modus operandi is getting employees from surrounding districts. By the way, Pasco's cost of living is significantly lower than what we have in Pinellas. That is a reality. So it's not a matter of luxury. It is a matter of addressing the reality that our employees, some of our lowest paid employees, are facing. So when I hear 18.27 million, let's be specific that was the number that was put across as what was available for all increases. That is not the specific
Yeah.
group.
No.
And then I will reiterate that when it gets down to it, the difference between our two proposals is less than $500,000. I just want to make sure that when we're talking about big numbers, we also focus on the brass, the nuts and bolts. And it truly is, at even where we are now, $500 million. So just putting that out there, I would not.
$500,000.
$500 million. Listen, you're right. If I was 500 million, then you can,
You
then
look
you
at
can
your
run.
schedule for Friday and let us know if you're available.
I will. I'll let you know quickly. I just have to make some calls.
That's fine. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Oh,
We both have to do.
we both have. to go?
Nancy and
So Nancy is going as well,
Yeah, we.
so she's not available on.
Right, I'm sure making a arrangement early in the morning, so I can drive by.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Next time.
Thank everybody else.
I know.